Well, it has been quite some time since I have made a video on my channel. I have no idea who's going to be watching this, but if you guys are, I definitely do appreciate that. I've probably killed off the majority of my channel, and that's obviously expected and definitely my own fault, since the last time I have posted a video on my channel has been well over 7 months, but I'm going to explain everything here in a second. And a lot has happened in between the time that I have posted that video and now, and even before then, which I'm going to basically explain everything. This is going to be probably a decently long video. I have no idea which gameplay is going to be played in the background. I do believe it's just going to be some early season 10 footage, so that's why you guys will be seeing some things that are not in Fortnite now that are in the gameplay. And I just wanted to explain really quick that this channel isn't anything that's going to result into something that is going to be some sort of a sob story where I post a video once every 6 months or so where I explain where I've been and everything like that. It's kind of already turned into that, unfortunately, because I've actually made quite a few of these videos in the past year or so where I've basically made an update video as to where I've been or what's going on with my life and things of the sort. And like I said, I don't want it to be a sob story or anything like that because of the fact that I've just been lazy and inconsistent, but I feel like I kind of owe it to you guys because I do know that there are a few of you on here who are really loyal to my channel, I guess you could say. Not that I have some big channel or anything like that, but you know, I'm sure I can think of some guys on my channel who stop by every now and then who have always been appreciative of the fact that, you know, I entertained them, and I am appreciative of that fact as well. So that's why I feel like I kind of owe it to you guys that I should be making this video. But after this, there's not going to be any more of these explanation videos where I've stated where I've been or anything like that, where I make an update video. And like I said, I just don't want my channel to turn into something like that because, like I said, it's already kind of turned into that, and I just don't think that that's what my channel should be in the future. So let me get into everything here. Also, excuse me if I am somewhat rusty on the mic. Like I said, I haven't recorded a commentary or made a video in over 7 months, so if I do maybe stutter or mess up some sentences here and there, then I do apologize. But let's go all the way back to mid 2018. So we're talking spring of 2018. I was living with my mom at the time, no responsibilities, rent-free, and I was pretty lazy, so I had all the free time in the world. I was eating unhealthy and, you know, just going to bed at absurd times. Terrible sleep habits and sleep schedule. I was going to bed at 8 in the morning, waking up at 7 at night, and that was really unhealthy. And I never appreciated how much time I had, and I never took advantage of the fact that I could have just been grinding that whole time, whether it be uploading and streaming to YouTube, or maybe it could have been going to the gym or hanging out with friends, or whatever it could have been. I wasn't doing any of that, and that's what I had wanted to do, but I was just so lazy, and I had so much free time on my hands that I wasn't actually doing anything with it. So I had actually planned on moving out that year because I was 20 years old, and you know, it was getting time, you know, it was becoming that time to move out. At least for me personally. Obviously everyone has their own time, but my sister had actually asked me if I wanted to move in with her, so there was the opportunity. It had arose, and I thought, you know, why not? This will be great because now I'll be able to actually have a job, and it will increase my work ethic because then I'll be able to improve upon things like uploading to YouTube and streaming. I'll have a harder work ethic, like I said, and it'll be nice because then I'll be able to have real responsibilities. I'll learn more about the adult world and all of that. So I had actually moved in with my sister here in the current apartment that I'm living in August 1st of 2018. So I started working, and I still have the current job that I do to this day, and I like it and all of that, but we'll get back to the point. So I had started working, and it was nice at first. It was new, and it was nice because I had gotten really along with my coworkers really well, and same with my bosses. So it was actually really nice because from what I've heard from, you know, my family and from friends, you don't actually get that very often. You don't end up having a job where you can get along really well with your coworkers and your bosses. So I still am to this day really thankful for that. And like I said, so when I had first started moving in, I was working, and I was being pretty lazy and inconsistent with YouTube because I had basically used the excuse that I was working so much when in reality I actually wasn't. It was just an excuse at the time because I was simply too lazy to care for YouTube, and also because of the fact that when I had first moved into this apartment, I had terrible internet connection. I believe it was somewhere around a 15 download and a 10 upload, which is really not something that's ideal at all if you're someone who's aspiring to be a YouTuber or stream or play any sort of online multiplayer competitive video games. So that didn't help at all, and I actually didn't upgrade my internet connection for quite some time either when I was living here. From when I had first moved in, I think it had been close to a year, and I'll get more into that later, but that was also another factor as to why I was being so inconsistent with YouTube, because I was working so much and I was giving myself the excuse that I was working too much and I would be so tired, and also because of the fact that my connection was just so unstable, excuse me, that I couldn't even stream or anything like that. So moving on to the winter of this past year, so getting into around November, December, that is when seasonal depression hit me. Now, if you guys don't know what seasonal depression is, a lot of people probably experience it, maybe not everyone does, but I definitely experienced it, and it hit me hard this past winter. Now what it is basically when winter starts to come around, the days start to get shorter, it gets dark out really early, around 4 or 5 o'clock, and I live in Canada, so winter hits even harder here than it does in maybe other countries or states or whatever it could be. So it would get dark out really early, like I said, and the way the body reacts to that, it almost like goes into this panic mode where it just wants to shut down, and you become really unhappy and really lonely and sad. And I dealt with that extremely hard throughout this past winter, and it lasted such a long time this past winter. It was from like November to mid-April, and it really sucked because I felt like I was just so unhappy, so unproductive. I was really eating poorly, unhealthy. I was going to bed at terrible times and going into work extremely miserable and stressed out and tired because of all of that, and I was just treating myself really poorly because of that seasonal depression, and I had never really experienced it like that before. I always knew that winter was like that in Canada because I've been living here my whole life, but it's just something different when you start living in the real world, when you have responsibilities and things of the sort, that it really starts to hit you hard. So this was the first winter of my life where I felt just as if my life was ruined and over, because every single day I would feel just unhappy and I felt like I was never going to be happy again, and it really truly sucked the life out of me. And I was never posting on YouTube during that time because of the fact that I would just come home and I would be unhappy after a long day of work, and I would just sit in my gaming chair and I would, eat really unhealthy, and I would just watch some YouTube videos and maybe, I don't know, a movie or something like that, go on Twitter, and then I would go to bed really late at night around, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I would go into work for 10 a.m. or something like that, and I would only get a few hours of sleep, and then the cycle would just repeat itself. And that really hit me hard, like I said. So that really sucked, and that was another contributing factor as to why I was being so inconsistent with YouTube, because I was barely even playing during that whole time because I just felt so sad. I would literally hop on Fortnite and I would play maybe a game or so, and I would feel so upset and depressed that I would stop playing. I was playing terribly as well, and I couldn't even focus on trying to do well. And obviously that doesn't work out at all when you're someone who's trying to make YouTube videos or trying to stream or something like that. So that was what the winter was like for me this past winter. It really sucked, but thankfully I've learned from it, I should say, and going to this winter, I'll definitely be able to deal with it a lot better, at least I hope, because like I said, everything is a learning experience, so it's something that I'm hoping I'll be able to deal with a lot better this coming winter. But moving on now, I would say sometime around April, spring of this year is when things started to change a lot. I started to feel a lot better, and nothing actually really happened. It was just the weather. Basically, it started getting sunnier again, days were lasting longer, and like I said, the body really reacts differently to seasonal depression, like I said, because it's almost like your body wants to shut down and just goes into this extremely sad mood when the days are so short. So thankfully the days were starting to get longer. It was sunnier out. I didn't have to wear a winter jacket every single day because it was starting to get warmer. And then I was starting to gain back motivation for YouTube and other things. Like I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to start hanging with friends and all of that because I had never done any of that. I was so homesick from when I first started working, when I had first started to move in here, and I had never done any of that, like I said. So that was something that I was hoping to do once spring came around. So around that time I had finally upgraded my internet. So that was quite some time, from August 1st of 2018 to mid-April of 2019. I had dealt with really poor internet connection that whole time. So that was obviously my fault 100%. That was all on me as to why I wasn't posting on YouTube or anything like that, because I was still able to play, but it was just really, really awful. And when you have such a bad connection like that, you don't even want to hop on. But I was simply too lazy to just call a new ISP to ask for an upgraded connection. So that was all my fault, like I said. So finally I did call in and I upgraded my internet connection, and it was definitely a lot better. But I had taken such a long break from Fortnite during that whole seasonal depression period that I was actually extremely bad at the game. And I believe that I had taken such a long break that at one point I didn't even play for all of March because I was dealing with it so hard, like I said. So when I finally came back and wanted to play again, and wanting to get better at the game around, I would say, May, I was seriously so bad at the game that I couldn't even kill like bot-like players. I couldn't win a solo for my life or anything like that. So I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to stream or post videos on this game again until I get better. So I thought, you know what, I'll play off stream and, you know, not make any videos for the time being until I can practice enough to the point where I can get better. And that didn't go very well. And I will say now that that's just a bad mindset to have as a YouTuber or a streamer, because everybody starts out the same way. Everybody starts off playing poorly on a game, whether it be a new game or maybe you're a new streamer and you're not used to streaming. You're not going to be that great while playing on stream right away. So that's something that you just have to kind of get accustomed to when you're new to streaming or new to a game, or you've taken a long break from a game. So that's definitely not something that you want to do, is not play on stream. Maybe I would say give yourself some practice for like a week or so, and that's definitely what I should have done instead of giving myself too long of a time, which I'll explain again here in a second. But it's just not the right mindset to have as a streamer or YouTuber. You should just play on stream, because that way you can get better. It's like, say you're trying to get better at basketball, right? And you're a professional basketball player, for example, you're trying to improve at something, you play in the NBA or something like that, right? Obviously, this is just something I'm making up, basically, to use it as an example. You have to play in NBA games. You can't just practice outside of NBA games. And I was practicing outside of streaming when I should have been practicing off stream and on stream rather than just playing off stream, because I was so nervous that no one was going to watch me because I was so bad at the game. So that right there is just a bad mindset to have, a bad mentality overall. So if you're someone who's ever struggling to play on stream because you feel as if you're bad and no one's going to watch you, don't worry about it. Just play on stream, and eventually you'll get better while playing on stream, and more and more people will come to watch you as you eventually improve, and then you can start entertaining people. And that's definitely what I should have done, but instead I took the, I guess you could say, the scared route, because I was afraid that no one was going to want to watch me because I was so bad, like I said. So I'm repeating myself a little bit too much here, but you guys kind of get the point. So like I said, I had taken such a long break that I thought I'll just give myself some time. But then when that time came, I was still barely even playing Fortnite, because once again, I was just being so lazy. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to play here and there, and then it turned into rarely ever playing again, and I was only barely playing Fortnite maybe once or twice a week. And Fortnite is the type of game that if you're going to improve at it, you have to play more than once or twice a week, and I was still giving myself that excuse that I was working too much, when in reality, even with all the hours where I work, I usually work anywhere from 30 to 35 hours a week, and that's usually around 5 days a week. I could still come home after a long day of work and still play for 1 to 2 hours, which is still really great practice. You don't need to play 6 to 8 hours every day, which I thought I needed to, and I was just being lazy, and then that would result in me never playing at all, and I would only play once a week or so, and then I wasn't practicing and I wasn't playing. So basically it turned into the whole summer of me just playing here and there sparingly and not actually getting better at the game, and that caused me to once again not stream, not upload any video or anything like that. And then it just basically made my streak of not uploading to YouTube or even showing up, posting a video, streaming or whatever, even longer. So that was the whole summer for me. And then finally September came around, and unfortunately this is still really recent, and it sucks for me to have to say this because I'm still going through it right now, but something really awful happened to me, and unfortunately I can't say what it is just yet for legal obligations, but maybe I'll explain what it is eventually, maybe in a month from now, or on my Twitter, something like that. By the way, you guys should probably follow me on Twitter anyways, just so you guys can keep up to date with what I'm talking about, and you guys can talk to me in general on there, because I'm not obviously always posting about YouTube or anything like that. I actually really don't anyways. I just use Twitter to talk to my friends and, you know, people like that. And also you guys can see what I look like on YouTube, on Twitter as well, so you guys can kind of match the face with the voice as well, because my profile picture is a picture of me. So if you guys have Twitter, go ahead and follow me. It'll be at the top of the description. There's a link there. So like I said, something really bad happened in September recently, and unfortunately I can't say what it is because of legal obligations and things of the sort, but what I will say about it is just appreciate what you have in life, because you never really know when things can hit you really badly and everything can just all of a sudden go downhill. And what happened was truly awful for me, but you know, thankfully we're getting some good news now, which I'll explain in a second. But just to be appreciative of everything that you have, because after everything is once again okay for me, hopefully in the near future, I'm seriously going to appreciate life and everything in general as much as I possibly can, because I never really appreciated things as much as I could have. I took some things for granted here and there, and that's definitely not the way you want to live life. You want to live life to the fullest, and that's not the way I was doing it. So on top of all this is something that I haven't mentioned in the video yet. Over the past year or so that I've been living here, we have been actually dealing with extremely loud neighbors above us, and unfortunately nothing has ever ever changed about that. So who is living above us is this father with his 2 kids, and he doesn't give them any rules, and they are extremely loud because they're young and they have a bunch of energy. They're about 5 and 8 years old. I'm not going to get too much into the details, but they basically wake up at around 5 to 6 a.m. every morning, and they make noise all day long. If they're not in school, then they're home all day, and if they are in school, they get home around 2 or 3 o'clock, and they just make constant noise all the time. So unfortunately, I've had some really bad living circumstances over the past year, and it's really been a toxic environment because we've tried our best to somewhat resolve the situation and nothing really came out of it. So it can really poison your mind when you can't even come home to relax in your own place just to take a nap or read a book or even do any sort of activity because there's constant noise going on. It really poisons your brain, like I said. So that's something that I've also been having to deal with ever since I moved in all the way back in August 1st of 2018. So over a year now, I've been having to deal with extremely loud, noisy neighbors, which has not been fun at all. So that has really sucked. And on top of that, I've also now started to once again deal with internet issues over the past week. On Fortnite, I'll actually show you guys a screenshot right now. You guys can see in the top left corner that for some reason my ping is extremely high, and I also have these red bars in that little, I don't know what to call it, but you guys can see where your connection is flowing. Sometimes it'll show you if it's good or bad, and you guys can see there's a few red bars in there. So recently on Fortnite, that's what I've been having to deal with, except for some reason it's fine on every other device, which really sucks because I'm actually paying for a 300 download and a 20 upload, and I've actually been dealing with connection issues as well ever since I actually upgraded to this ISP back in April. It's really been on and off. They've actually charged me for bills that weren't even mine. They merged my account with somebody else's accidentally, and you know, just things of the sort. I sometimes just don't get the speeds that I should be paying for, so I'm thinking about just upgrading in the near future because it really sucks. Even when I'm just playing offline just to try to play for fun, I can't even get on, so it's really not a fun time. So things just haven't really been going in my favor over the past few months ever since September hit, which really sucks. But thankfully, I've finally gotten some good news. I've decided to basically put all of this behind me and move out and find a new place, and thankfully I just recently signed a lease, so I'll actually be moving into that place November 1st, which is really nice. It's going to be a very nice, quiet place, and I'll never have to deal with any sort of loud neighbors ever again, which is great because I don't even remember what it's like to get to have a nice, quiet home to my place, or to myself in my own place, and know what it's like to get a full night's of good sleep. So that's going to be great. And that's basically just what I wanted to explain throughout the entire video as to where I've been, because a lot has gone wrong and a lot has affected what has happened with my channel. I'm not saying Fortnite and YouTube is my life or anything like that, but this is definitely something that I've enjoyed for a while now, and it's definitely probably, I could say, a passion of mine. Not necessarily Fortnite, but just creating content and being on YouTube. I was actually excited to make this video before I started recording it. I was thinking about making it and I got excited, and I know this is quite a long video now. We're coming up on maybe 16-17 minutes or something like that. So if you guys have watched through the entire video, I definitely do appreciate it, but I just wanted to mention what's been going on in my life over the past year and a half or so as to why I've been so inconsistent. Basically ever since late 2017, because that was when I was still posting Call of Duty, and I was actually really consistent on YouTube at that time. I was streaming quite regularly and I was uploading videos. I was getting a lot of views. I was gaining a lot of subscribers every day, and I just let it slip, and that was totally my fault. But everything that has happened since then hasn't entirely been my fault. Obviously, a lot of it has been, such as, you know, not upgrading my internet connection at all from the time that I had moved in for months. That's totally all on me. But other circumstances, such as dealing with seasonal depression, obviously wasn't in my control at all, and that obviously affected me uploading to YouTube and things of the sort like that as well. And that was just something that was totally not in my control, like I said, but it's something that I've learned from altogether, this whole experience, and hopefully after November, once I move into my new place, everything will be okay, and things will sort of start to go back to normal, and things will be smooth from there on out. Obviously, you're still going to deal with problems in life, and I'm not saying everything is going to be perfect or anything like that, but I'm just happy that things are hopefully going to go back to normal here relatively soon. It's still kind of far away because I'm still dealing with what I'm dealing with now, and what has hit me since September. Like I said, I'm still going through it right now, but thankfully it's not too far away, although like I said, I still have to wait a few more weeks. But after November, that's when I'm going to hopefully come back, start posting a little bit more consistently, and maybe I'll even upgrade my connection. You guys probably won't see a video from me until November, sometime in mid-November, because I have to deal with moving and I'm working a lot to save up for the move and things of the sort. Plus, like I said, dealing with connection issues and, you know, other things as well. So you guys more than likely will not see another video from me until mid-November, but I just wanted to give you guys an update as to where I was rather than let my channel completely die out, which I probably have already somewhat done, but that's okay, that's totally expected, and if I want to build it back up, then that's something that I'm definitely going to have to do. But like I said, I'm just very appreciative of the fact that there's still definitely going to be a few of you guys who are loyal that are going to watch this video, click on it, and listen throughout the whole thing. Thank you guys for doing that, because this is definitely going to be a long video because I felt like I had to explain everything. So that's basically going to be it for the video, and like I said, follow me on Twitter so you guys can just talk to me, stay up to date with what I'm doing and everything like that, and I will see you guys again sometime around November. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Peace.